So am I audible?
Good morning, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
good.
Yes,
Good
sir.
morning.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. So let us start this class. Though I have just checked out the attendance and I found that only 14 or 15 students are attending the class. So I don't know what's the reason. But I'm just telling you that by that time, then you'll be writing your examination. You have to um, write the complicated programs in shell. And then it's not possible that all the modes of examination will be online only. So accordingly, one has to take this class very seriously. And yesterday we have discussed about some commands, including rights or permissions, reading, writing, and execution. And along with that, we have also seen some commands like tail and head. How can we combine two or more commands together, two or more file contents together, uh, or how can we display the contents? And as you know that when I'm saying that we can combine two or more files contents together, so that we have seen in the example like where we executed cat command and we have given a number of file names after cat. So all these file contents are appearing to be concatenated, and so we see that they have been, we can say that they are combined in horizontal manner. Now, as I told you that it is also possible that we can make vertical pasting, or we can also cut the contents vertically. So for that purpose, we are having the command like cut and paste. So let us see first the cut command. But prior to that, I would like to show the content of two files over which I wish to perform cut and paste operations. So one such file is actually these two files already I have created in B subdirectory, and one such file is p1.txt. So you know that here we are having three fields, and this pipeline symbol we are using as a field separator. So just I type the contents by just using cat greater than or p1.txt type of command for just creating a small file. And as you know that this making use of cat with greater than sign without giving any file name in between cat and greater than sign is simply indicating that it's an input file. So yesterday only we have discussed this, how can we create a small file, but of course when we are making a specific use of cat, we cannot say that cat is an editor. No, it's not an editor. So this file I have created, and deliberately I have kept this pipeline symbol, and the proper alignment you can see only because of use of tab key. So I'm having the first field, maybe the employee ID, the second field employee name, and the third field uh, age. Similarly, another file which I have created is p2 p2.txt. So again here we are having three fields. The first one is having employee ID, and the second one is having names, and the third one is having the designation of different employees. Now here too I'm making use of this pipeline symbol as a field separator. So now you can consider as if we are having two tables, because in context to relational database management system, we know that one relational is nothing but a table where we are having different tuples and the attributes are actually narrated with columns. So accordingly here too we are having two files p1.txt and p2.txt. And let us see the operation of cut command. When we use cut command, we can specify this delimiter, which is the field separator. I mean, which character you are taking as a field separator. And why do we need this? That will be clear shortly. Then we are writing say f1 comma 3, and then I am writing p1.txt. Now let me explain the complete syntax of this command. When I write cut minus d, this minus d option we are using just to tell a character which has to act as a field separator. So based on that only we can count the field. fields. I mean, when I set ki cat p1.txt is showing the contents on screen having three fields. So on which basis I am saying that these are the three fields, because I am making use of pipeline symbol as a field separator. So 20201 is the employee ID of the first employee, who is Sunil Agrawal. So in between 20201 and Sunil Agrawal, I'm having pipeline symbol as a field separator. Then after name also I'm having a pipeline symbol. So that means I'm starting the third field, and there I'm writing 23. That means it's a age. So this convention we have followed throughout the file. So here this pipeline symbol is being used as a field separator. This is very important that you have to mention which character you are using as a field separator. So normally we choose that character as a field separator, which is not normally coming as a ordinary character in the running text. For example, we are not writing any address or any sort of thing where we are making use of pipeline symbol. So it's not an ordinary character, or you can say frequently used character. Very rarely you can see the occurrence of this character, and in most of the cases it is seen only in case of operation related to computers. But in day-to-day life we are not making use of pipeline symbol. So this pipeline symbol is a specific symbol in that sense that it is not normally occurring in any running text. So we are using this as a field separator. So based on that only we are counting the fields. Now the next field is minus F. Minus F indicates you are interested to cut the fields. Which fields? I mean, I'm giving 1, 3. That means I'm interested to cut only the first field and third field. See, when I'm saying first field and third field, the counting of fields is based on occurrence of pipeline symbol. And from which file I wish to cut p1.txt. Now let us see what is happening. When I press enter, I am getting only two columns display on screen. The first is the first field, which indicates employee IDs, and the second field is the age. And the name field is skipped, by the way. Why? Because we have given only 1, 3. The same command we can execute with only 3. So you see only one column display is coming on the screen, that is third field itself. Similarly, it can also be seen that if we write 1, 3, 1-3, that means we are specifying the range of fields. So when you are having multiple fields to be included in the display, and that sequence is continuous, then obviously we cannot write all the numbers of fields. So we are writing 1-3. That means we are interested to cut the field number 1, 2, and 3. So that can also be specified. So cut minus D. So it is very important that with minus D option, what do we specify? We specify the character which is to be used in counting the fields, because counting is why counting is required, because otherwise on which field we can apply this cut command. I mean, counting of fields can be is required because we have to give with F option the count of that field which we wish to display on screen. So we are cutting first, second, and third. So when I press enter, I am getting all the three fields, and eventually we are having only three fields in the file itself. But it may be possible that we are having multiple fields, maybe 5 or 10, and out of them we are interested to show only the first three fields, 1, 2, and 3. So that can also be done. So is it okay? We can make use of cut. Now cut can also be used on the basis of characters, not necessary that it should be used on this fields only. It can be used on characters. Now when we are making use of this cut command on characters, we have to use -C option. So let us see another file. Maybe we have created some of the files in yesterday's session. Like one such file was first.txt. Now I am using cut -C. Then suppose giving 1 to 5, then first.txt. Now since we are leaving the option of counting the fields based on certain specific character, that is why we are not using -D option and -F option. So in case of cut -C 1 to 5 first.txt, let us see what output we are getting. Now you look at the contents which we have got on the screen. MADAN. I mean, we are cutting the first 5 characters of all the lines of the previous file. So if you look at these contents, Madan Mohan Malviya. So the first word itself was having 5 characters. Similarly, in Gorakhpur, we have cut up to K. Similarly, Linux is again total count is 5, and Uttar Pradesh in the word Uttar is having the occurrence of 5 characters. So we have got the display in this way. So, but you see that when we are making this kind of cut, we are cutting the contents vertically. Yesterday we have seen the example of head and tail. We have made the combination of head and tail along with pipeline symbol. There we were using this as a meta character pipeline symbol on the command line just to combine two commands together. And what we have done, we have seen that when we are making use of head and tail both commands in a combined way, in a specific way, we were able to select certain range of lines. And what does it mean when we are saying that certain range of lines? That means we are able to retrieve certain number of lines. So we are cutting actually the contents horizontally, because when you are choosing certain number of lines from a specific file, that means we are cutting the contents horizontally. Here we are cutting the contents vertically. So you have two options: either you can cut vertically based on character count, or you can cut the contents vertically based on field count. But of course, when you are making use of field count, you have to have -d option to specify the specific character which should be used to separate the fields, because based on that only we can get this information that what different fields are there in the file. Another use of cut command, when we are making use of -c option. So whatever we have seen in the current example where I used cut -c 1 to 5, actually it's not it's not much appealing, because in most of the cases we are making use of cut only in the way which we have seen earlier, where we used cut -d. But cut -c is mostly used in some other applications. For example, there is a command called echo. It's similar to printf or system out println of Java like the statement. So here, if we are displaying contents on a screen, so we may be writing, suppose I'm writing echo Malviya. So whatever we are echoing, that will display on the screen, because we have written that string between double inverted comma. It is also possible that we can assign this word Malviya to a variable, and then we can make use of echo $k. So in that case, k is treated as a variable, because we have seen in case of environment variable like home, where I wrote that home in capital, that again we discussed that variable when we were discussing about change directory cd option. So there I showed you that when we are using cd and then we are writing dollar and home in capital, so that environment variable by default used to contain the complete path of my home directory. So when I write cd and $home, that means this home is actually a variable because it is preceded with $sign. So in that case, the value stored in home will be substituted and will be supplied to cd. And because of that only it was happening that we succeeded in changing the path to home directory. Here we are making use of an ordinary variable, that is a user variable like k, because it is defined by me only. So it's a user variable. So I'm writing k is equal to Malviya. Then I'm writing echo $k. So I'm treating this k as a variable. If I write echo k only, so only k will be displayed, because in that case k will be treated as a character. But when I write echo $k, that means I'm treating k as a variable. So the value stored in k will be displayed on a screen. So because of that only we are getting Malviya on a screen. Now suppose this command I am combining to cut -c. Now again the output of echo $k is supplied as input to cut -c. If you consider cut -c in a standalone way, what is required when we write cut -c? We have to write the file name, okay, from where we wish to cut the contents, or the contents also you can specify. But here what is happening? We can write echo $k. That means whatever I am supposed to get on screen is now supplied as input to cut command. So we write cut minus C, so we can cut certain character. So maybe if I'm writing say 1, 2, 3. So I am cutting only the first 3 characters MAL. Okay. So similarly, I mean I can use just a minute. I can use 1, 3, 5 just to cut the character 1, then character 3 and character 5. And it is also possible that the same echo can also be combined to count the number of characters. So we can use WC minus C because we have already discussed WC command. So WC minus C is to cut the total number of characters. Now, if you look at this count, it's coming out to be 9. But if you count the characters, total number of characters in Malviya, how many characters are there? It's 4 and 4, 8. So it counts basically the hidden character 2, and because of that only it is giving the count 9. So this is a way of finding the length of any string. But of course, whatever length we are getting is always one more than the encode characters on the screen. So because the hidden character is never displayed on screen, so 8 characters are there, but you are getting count of 9. So you have to take precaution if you are making use of this combination when you are writing a program like palindrome, because there you are interested to know how many characters are there and you wish to know the length of a string. So then whatever string length we are getting is actually one more than the total number of characters which are displayable on the screen. So we have to reduce it by 1 only, but there are numerous other ways by which we can easily calculate the length of any string. So we'll see those commands later on. But I suppose now it's clear that we can make use of cut command with minus D minus F option, and we can make use of cut command with cut minus C option. And we have also seen that we can make use of cut with minus C to be operated upon file contents. And it is also possible that we are getting some input from the previous command, and over that we are applying the command cut minus C. Similarly, one such example we have also seen in case of WC, where we counted the total number of characters. So, I mean, it's possible that you may be asked to perform an operation, or you have to write a sequence of command or commands for doing a specific operation. So it is possible that for a specific operation, you may not be having a single command available. So in that case, you have to combine 2 or more commands together in a logical sense. So we can do that. So is it clear? So please keep giving the feedback, because so that I can understand.
Yes,
Yes, you are understanding or not. And I believe since the lecture is also available offline, so later on also I can see, I imagine that you can go through that lecture, and if you are having any confusion, I'm sure that that can be sorted out by just re-watching that lecture. But at the same time, I'm also worried about the total strength which is live in a particular session. I'm having the option of downloading the attendance of those students who are presently live, and that merely requires only one click, and the entire Excel CSV file will be downloaded. So ask your classmates to be sincere in the online classes, because whatever way we are discussing online, I mean, if I am providing the lectures through YouTube, it doesn't mean that you start skipping the classes with the perception that the lecture will become available later on YouTube channel so you can see. Because when we are attending the live session, you have the option of asking the queries, though you are not asking, but you have the option of asking the questions. So please get your confusions cleared when you are attending the class, so that there only your doubt can be cleared. So now we see that we have seen the command like cut, and similarly the opposite of this we can do with the help of paste. So if I write before that, let me display the content of both the files over which we have to perform this example. One is cat p1.txt and another is cat p2.txt. Now we wish to combine both the commands together, so we can use paste, then p1.txt, p2.txt. So see what is happening. We are getting the contents pasted in a vertical manner. Earlier, when we were giving the command like cat p1.txt and p2.txt, the output is totally different, because if we give cat p1.txt and p2.txt, so what is happening? Horizontally, the append operation is performed. So both the file contents appear to be concatenated. But here what is happening? They are not combined horizontally, rather they are combined vertically. So you can see these contents in the previous example where they are pasted like this. And it is also possible that when we are combining them together, it's possible that in between this 23 and 20211, the first field of second file and the last field of first file, in between them we can put the pipeline symbol. So that is also possible, and for that purpose again you have to use -d option. So if I write paste, and here if I write -d and then pipeline symbol and then p1.txt, p2.txt, see the outcome. Here both the contents, they are appended vertically, and here it seems more logical, reason being every field is separated by pipeline symbol. So you can see the difference in between 23 and 20211. We are now having this pipeline symbol as a field separator, which was not there in the previous display. So with this we can paste the contents. So we have seen the example like cut and paste, and we have seen the example like head, tail, and then cat. So many such commands will use time to time, and why we are discussing them, because these commands are to be used when you write the shell program, and otherwise also when in some online examinations or quizzes, if you are asked to write the sequence of commands for performing a specific operation, then of course you have to have understanding of commands, then only you will be in position to combine them together. So now again, I'm coming back to some specific characters that we have seen earlier. One such character was the pipeline symbol. I just showed that example where again we use the pipeline symbol as a meta character. See, using pipeline symbol inside the file content as a specific character is not making it special, because it is simply a unique character that we are using as a field separator. It has nothing to do with shell. It is not having any interpretation for shell. But when you are writing this pipeline symbol on command line, then it has a specific interpretation for shell. So those characters which are having a special interpretation for shell, they are called meta characters. So we have seen in past, and in today's session also we have seen that how can we make use of pipeline symbol to combine two or more commands together. And similarly, we also have the option of like using greater than sign and double greater than sign. So these two are the output redirection symbols, and they are again falling in the category of meta characters. Similarly, we make use of star. That means when we write ls and star.txt, so star stands for 0 or more occurrences of any character. So because of that, only all those files which are having one character or two character or many number of characters before .txt, they are selected and they are displayed on screen. Similarly, another wildcard was question mark. So question mark is basically meant for simulating only a single occurrence of character. So if we are interested to display only those files which are having three characters in their name, so we can write ls -l and then we can write 3 times question mark, question mark, question mark, because every question mark corresponds to one character of any type. So when we write question mark, question mark, question mark, that means 3 characters. So we are selecting all those files which are having merely 3 characters in their names. So this is also a wildcard. And along with that, we are also having some specific sequences or specific characters which are falling in the category of meta characters. Like if I am interested to display the file which are starting with f and having, maybe let us see, because based on that only I'll quote any example. Let us see what kind of files we are having. Okay, so here I am writing an expression ls minus l, and then I'm writing f or capital F, and then I'm writing so when we write within a square bracket small f or capital F, eventually we were not having any file starting with the name capital F. So what is happening? This expression which is written over here is expanded in what form? It is expanded in the form where we are having the very first character of any file name as either a small f or a capital F. Okay. And after that we may be having any number of characters followed by .txt sequence. So accordingly, if I am say writing ls minus l, and then if say I write a to z, and then I write star, or maybe I'm writing question mark, and then I'm writing sh. So that means I'm interested to display all those files which are having merely two characters in their names, and the next three characters are .sh. That means total number of characters are how many? They are totally 5. Okay, so we are displaying all those files which are having 5 characters in their names, where the first character is essentially a character falling in between A to Z. It must be alphabet. I mean, if you are keeping any file name as 1a.txt, so that file will not be selected, or 1a.sh, that file will not be selected. Why? Because the first character is a digit, which is 1. So that character is not given in the range A to Z. So when we write any such expression where we have to give within a square bracket A dash Z, that means any one character out of this range will be substituted at this place. So first will be any character between A to Z. Then it follows then we are having only one character, maybe one digit or maybe anything, and then .sh. If I write txt, now what is happening? We are getting only 2 display on the screen. Why do we get 2 display? Because the first character is P over here, and that is again in the range of A to Z. Here too it is P, so that is again in the range of A to Z. If we are having any file like ABC, or sorry, ab.txt, so that will also be selected. Why? Because because of this square bracket we have given the range, so A will be selected, and then next is question mark, so that means any character, so AB, and after that .txt. And here too it is p1.txt, because this 1 or this 2 is only because of the second question mark, and the first character is essentially should be alphabet falling in between the range of A to Z, including A and Z. Okay. So this is also a specific meaning to this shell, and that is why it is also falling in the case of meta characters. Now it is possible that when we are combining 2 or more commands together, one can ask how many commands we can combine together. So there is no limit that how many commands you can combine together, but that combination must be logical. There should not be any illogical combination of commands. I mean, abruptly I cannot write mkdir and some argument and then pipeline symbol and then cat and then pipeline symbol. So they don't have any meaning. Reason being, the outcome of one command which is to be supplied as input to the second command, so it should conform to the syntax of second command, because second command, if it needs to be operated upon certain contents, so those contents should come from the previous command. If previous command is not supplying any content, so on which content the second command can operate? So that question arises. So we have to have the logical sequence. So that is why if somebody is asking how many entries are there in your current directory, so you can write ls minus l, and then we are using pipeline symbol and making use of wc minus l. So we are getting 8 because 8 entries are there. So this kind of operations we can perform. And now again we are having some other meta characters to be discussed. One such character or sequence of characters is dollar and this bracket. We have just seen an example where I just showed you that k is equal to Malviya we can assign. So k becomes a variable and Malviya is getting assigned to k. Now in many of the languages today, it is happening that when we define any variable, we are bound to define the type of that variable also. It is happening in case of Java, it is happening in case of C or C++ also. That prior declaration of that variable is must. So variable may be either an integer type or character type or float type or double type, think or a string type, but you need to define the type of that variable, and that type defines what kind of data that variable can hold. If you are defining that variable as a integer type, so it can hold only the integer data. It cannot hold any fractional number because you have already defined it as an integer. Now in certain languages, the type of variable is not required to be declared before the use of variable. Rather, the content of variable itself defines what is the type of that variable. I can write k is equal to Malviya. I can write k is equal to 5 also. I mean, it's possible that I can assign any numeric number or any numeral to variable k. It is also possible that I can assign a string Madan Mohan Malviya to variable k. Okay. And there is no difference when you write MADAN in this way or we write this word without using double inverted comma. But it matters a lot when you are having multiple word sequence. So of course you are bound to write the entire sequence of words between double inverted comma. So if you are willing to assign Madan to variable k, it doesn't make any difference whether you are writing that Madan between double inverted comma or you are directly writing Madan as a value to be assigned to k. But when you are writing multiple words in a string like Madan Mohan Malviya, then of course we need to include all the words ठीक है. तो कंटेंट जो है वेरिएबल के वही डिफाइन करते हैं जैसे कि k इज इक्वल टू 5. ठीक है, ये कंटेंट जो है डिफाइन कर कंटेंट ही डिफाइन करेगा कि व्हाट शुड बी द टाइप ऑफ दैट वेरिएबल. So when we assign any number to k, so of course we can perform any arithmetic operation over k. So in order to perform arithmetic operation, we are having a command like expr, that is for evaluation of expression. So when we write expr 4 and then plus and then 5, mind it, when I'm writing 4 plus 5, I am inserting blank spaces on either side of every operand and operator. So here 4 and 5, they are the operands. So I'm taking extra caution while writing 4 because in between expr and 4 I have inserted blank space, and after 4 also I'm writing blank space and then writing plus. I mean, I cannot write 4 plus 5 in the running way. No, that would be wrong. So what we can do is if 4 and then plus and then 5. See the outcome. We have got the answer 9 on the screen. So that means any calculation we can perform with the help of expr. Now suppose we are interested to hold this value, the return value, in some variable. So we can write k is equal to. Now suppose if I wish to write expr 4 plus 5. Now what caution I need to take is first expr 4 plus 5 should be executed, and whatever output we are getting out of this expression, that should get assigned to variable k. So for doing that, we have to include this command in the bracket, and before that we have to insert $sign. Okay, so when we write dollar and within bracket we are writing expr 4 plus 5, and when I press enter, so the value, some value might have got assigned to variable k. Now let us see the value of variable k. So it's 9. So that means it is possible that the output of one command you can assign to some variable, and if you are doing that, then of course the command you have to include between braces preceded with dollar sign. So this dollar and this sequence is again the combination of meta characters. So it is meant for command substitution. So we can substitute the command, and why do we need substitution? Because we wish to assign the output of that command to some variable. So that variable is equal to and then dollar, and within bracket you have to write that command which you wish to execute and the output you wish to assign to the variable written in the left hand side. So for that purpose we can make use of this. Another meta character is single backquote. See, we are having this specific symbol called tilde sign. This is on the extreme upper left side of my keyboard, just below the escape key. We are having this tilde sign, and over that we are also having a single quote. This is called single back quote. Okay, so there is a difference between this single quote and single back quote. The one which we have been using as a single quote was this one, that is available with the key, where also we are having this double inverted comma. So double inverted comma and single inverted comma will be this one only. But when we make use of this, this is a single back quote, and that this back quote is available just below the key, just below escape key. So there we are having tilde sign and this single back quote. So basically single back quote by default is available, and if you wish to insert tilde sign, then you have to use shift and then tilde sign key. So now again I am writing the same which I wrote earlier, 4 and then plus and then 5, and again single back quote closed. Look at this, echo $k. Again we have got the answer 9 on screen. That means they are synonyms. You have the option of either making use of this way, that you can include the command between small braces preceded with dollar sign. So by this way also you can do the command substitution. And another way of doing the command substitution is you can include the command between single back quotes, and then you can write some variable in the left hand side so that you can get the output assigned to that variable. So is it okay? With this we can do this kind of calculation. So this is also a meta character. Now, as I have been telling you that how many commands we can combine together on the command line by just using pipeline symbol. There is no limit that how many commands you can combine, but you are having a difficulty. Like if I write any command in this way and then pipeline symbol cmd2, then pipeline symbol, I may be crossing the total width which is available on my system's desktop. So what is happening in that case? I may reach to the extreme right side of my command line, and the sequence is still continued. But my problem is so far we have typed say 90 commands, and 10 more commands are to be appended yet in the same command sequence. But my problem is after 90 command, there is no space left in the current command line because you have reached the extreme right side of your screen. So now you are bound to press enter. My problem is if I press enter, so what will happen? Whatever I have typed so far, they are merely 90 commands. So only that sequence will be executed, where the sequence is yet to be completed, and then it should be caused to execute. So in that case, what is happening? We can make use of this backslash as a magic character. Again, it is a meta character. So one example which I am showing you is, suppose if I am giving cat, and then suppose if I am giving the command first.txt. Okay, I am getting the contents. If I am interested in counting the number of lines, I am giving wc -l. So I am getting count of lines on the screen. Now suppose I wish to move to the next line. As I just told you that example, that suppose we have to type total 100 commands by just using pipeline and different kind of meta characters, and we have reached the 90 characters. We have typed so far 90 characters, and now my problem is if I press enter, whatever I have typed so far, that will be executed. So in that case, I can make use of, after 90th command, I can make use of this backslash. When I do that, and I press enter, I am getting secondary prompt on the screen. Okay, that means Linux or the operating system is still giving me the option of continuing the same sequence of command. So my command line is still continued. Okay. So now since the command line is still continued, now I can finish the remaining portion of my command wc -l, and now I can press enter. So I'm still getting 4 on the screen. That means this backslash is also a magic character, and it's a actually meta character. Now, what is the meaning of this backslash? Okay, why it is called magic character? It is a magic character. Why? Because if we press enter key, so enter right now is considered to be the completion of command on command line. So because of that only, when I press enter, the command is considered to be completed and now it is executed. But when I write this backslash, that means I am still continued with the command. So the next character which I press, like enter, will not be having the usual meaning of enter with associated with that. So because of that only, when I press enter, my cursor is moving to the next line, but it is not causing the current command to be executed. So this because of that only, when you press this backslash and you press enter, you are getting this greater than sign. Now, by the way, this greater than sign is called secondary prompt. Okay, this dollar was the primary prompt and this was the secondary prompt. So still we have the option of moving to multiple lines by just pressing backslashes again and again. So at the end of each line before pressing enter key, because enter key ka usual meaning kya hai? It carries the meaning of completion of command submitted for execution. So if you wish to revert the usual meaning of that enter key for the shell, you have to write backslash before that. So that backslash is reverting the meaning of that enter key, and it makes it simply a enter key moving the cursor to the next line. ठीक है, एक simple बना देता है उसको. So because of that only, it becomes possible that we can move to the next line and we can continue with the sequence of the same commands. ठीक है, उसको हम we can complete that command sequence. This also we use when we write programs in C language. You might have seen that we are having some preprocessor like hash define. So with the help of that hash define, we can define the macros. And what macros are doing, because suppose we are writing 3 or 4 lines definition and we're defining it as a macro in my program. So when I compile that program, at all the points where I am calling that macro, those 4 lines will be inserted physically in the program, and then the program is compiled. So see that, just try to understand the difference. You might have seen the example of subroutines. Okay, what subroutines are doing or what functions are doing basically in C or Java. When we write any function, we have to perform a specific task, so we are writing a function separately. And in which situation we prefer to write the function, because if suppose a specific operation you need to repeat again and again in the program, so you can define that sequence of code as a separate function. And then whenever you wish to have that particular operation to be executed in your program, so you can simply call that function. ठीक है, हम function call करते हैं और वहां पे वो definition call होती रहती है. तो जब definition call करते हैं तो what is happening? The control is transferred to that definition. That definition is executed and control is transferred back to main function. So this is happening. So this function is nothing but a subroutine which is written separately from the main function, and you can call that subroutine or that function multiple times in the main program. So what is the cost saving in that case? We are reducing the effort of writing the program, and plus at the same time, if I insert that particular operation multiple times in the program instead of writing it only once as a separate function and calling that function again and again, so what will happen? The size of my program will also expand. Okay. But many times it is happening that the function which you are writing is very small in size, say merely having 3-4 lines. So in that case, what is happening when you are actually compiling that program and calling that function? So even lots many things are happening in the background which are not seen to us. Okay. So what is happening? Even the total number of bytes consumed to combine or to look after this transfer of control from main to that subroutine or function, and again getting the control back to main program will prove to be costlier than the total cost saving which you are achieving by using a repeated code as a function. तो आपका जो फंक्शन है सपोज वो केवल 5 बाइट जो है वो बचाता है या 5 बाइट का सीक्वेंस है वो कोड का, और आपका जो कंबाइन करने का बैकग्राउंड में जो ऑपरेशन हो रहा है जहाँ पे कंट्रोल इज ट्रांसफर्ड टू फंक्शन एंड देन फंक्शन इज एग्जीक्यूटेड एंड देन कंट्रोल इज ट्रांसफर्ड बैक टू द मेन प्रोग्राम, इसमें कहीं ना कहीं ओवरहेड भी रहता है. रीजन बीइंग कि सिंस यू हैव स्टडीड डेटा स्ट्रक्चर यू मस्ट बी नोइंग द कंसेप्ट ऑफ स्टैक. So whatever portion of the main function we have executed so far, it must have generated certain result. So when we are transferring the control to some other portion, so obviously whatever we have generated so far, that must be lying in some temporary registers of the macroprocessor. So we'll be losing those contents or those results. Okay. So in that case, we need to preserve the contents before transferring the control to some other subroutine. So for that purpose only the stack is used, and we all know that the use of stack is totally transparent to us because operating system in the background is taking care of all these operations. So many times it is happening that the code saving which you are achieving is actually compensated by the total overhead and the total associated information maintained by operating system to make this successful control transfer from main function to sub function and sub function to main function. तो आपका 3 बाइट का तो कोड था और आपने हर कॉल के साथ 10-10 बाइट जो है मान लीजिए खर्च हो रही है ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम की बैकग्राउंड में, तो आपकी सेविंग कहाँ हुई? क्योंकि आपका तो 3 बाइट का ही कोड था, उससे तो अच्छा होता कि वी कुड रिपीट दैट कोड मल्टीपल टाइम्स इन द प्रोग्राम, बिकॉज उसका अगर रिपीटिशन होता तो प्रॉब्ली हमारी जो है सेविंग होती. तो फिर किस सिचुएशन में वी प्रिफर टू राइट मैक्रो और किस सिचुएशन में वी आर राइटिंग फंक्शन? क्योंकि मैक्रो यही करता है. मैक्रो में हमारा क्योंकि राइटिंग अ स्पेसिफिक कोड मल्टीपल टाइम्स इन द प्रोग्राम इज वेरी बोरिंग. ठीक है. सो व्हाट वी कैन डू इज कि वी कैन डिफाइन दैट पर्टिकुलर कोड व्हिच वी विश टू रिपीट अगेन एंड अगेन मल्टीपल टाइम्स इन द प्रोग्राम एज ए मैक्रो सेपरेटली, and then we can call that macro. So what is happening? It is a pre-processing stage of compilation. So when we compile the program, so before compilation, at all the points where you have called that macro, the actual definition will be physically substituted, and that will expand the size of your program. तो जो आपने मैन्युअली किया होता वो ऑटोमेटेड वे में हो गया और वो सारी जगहों पे मैक्रो इंसर्ट हो जाएगा, and then the program is compiled or translated to machine language. So basically आप कह सकते हैं कि we are having a trade-off between the sizes. So if your definition is very complicated, so obviously we prefer to write it as a function. But if the definition is very simple and having merely a few lines, then we can write it as a macro. ठीक है. तो जब हम कोई मैक्रो लिखते हैं तो आई एम श्योर आपने जो मैक्रो पढ़ा होगा वो आपने केवल बहुत सिंपल सा पढ़ा है, जैसे 3.1415 द वैल्यू ऑफ पाई. So we are treating as if pi is a constant. So at all the positions wherever you are having pi written in the program, 3.14 will be inserted. And when it is inserted, when we try to compile the program, so before compilation it is happening. Okay? Because any statement which is preceded with hash is a preprocessor directive. So that is a directive to the compiler कि before compilation what it should do. ठीक है. तो इसलिए सब जगह पे 3.14 इंसर्ट हो जाएगा एंड देन द प्रोग्राम इज एक्चुअली कंपाइल्ड. ठीक है. बट दिस इज अ सिंपलेस्ट एग्जांपल व्हिच नॉर्मली ऑल ऑफ अस आर मेकिंग यूज व्हेन वी आर स्टडीइंग हैश डिफाइंड प्रीप्रोसेसर. बट वी मे बी राइटिंग अ डेफिनेशन लाइक दिस max a comma b. ठीक है. देन a greater than b question mark, then a colon b. This kind of expression we have seen, or even it is possible that we can write max a comma b comma c. ठीक है. We are writing 3 variables. So of course in that case you cannot use this conditional operator type of operation, or if you are using it you cannot remain confined to a single line. You will be requiring multiple lines. तो अगर max a comma b की definition जो है is having multiple lines, then what will happen? We cannot write the first statement to be written as hash define max a comma b and the first line. Then how can we write the second line, third line, fourth line? Because all these lines are to be associated with max a comma b only. So there we again make use of this backslash that indicates that the definition which has to be associated with macro max a comma b is still continued. Okay, is still continued. So we keep writing the statements on multiple lines. Okay, and at the end we can write we don't write this backslash. ठीक है, तो क्या होगा, जहां जहां आपने max a comma b का अपने प्रोग्राम में यूज किया है, तो बिफोर कंपाइलेशन when you try to make the compilation, so what will happen, the pre-processing stage will insert at all the places where you have written max a comma b the definition that you have attached with that macro, and once that definition is inserted, your program will be expanded, and now that program will be converted to machine language. Okay, so more about this we'll discuss in the next lecture. Because you are having already a class scheduled at 10:20, I'm getting some messages on my screen. So I'm ending my session here only, and wish that whatever we are discussing in the lecture sessions, you must execute those sequences on your laptop. Okay. So thank you very much for attending the class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a good day, sir.
Okay, thank you.